How's it going, guys? Peshcats here, and today I'm going to be showing you my friend Cody's Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks yellow deck, so Saber-Shirou. This is the deck that he used to get first place in tonight's local tournament. He went 5-0, awesome, with his first day with the deck. So we made this deck earlier today. I helped him pick out some of the cards, pick out some of the ratios. He changed a couple things after off of what I told him, and ran this in today's tournament and performed really well. So he's not currently here. He went home. It's like midnight. But he gave me a couple things to say about some of the cards and some of his quick thoughts. So I'll be sure to include those. But for now, I'm just going to give you guys a deck list and like the reasoning that we put together, like how many copies like this card or whatnot in this deck. So first thing I just want to say is that this deck is built entirely out of the Fate Stay Night Unlimited Bladeworks booster pack. There's nothing from outside the booster pack, so you can build this just out of Unlimited Bladeworks. So let's begin with the deck. First off, for the level 3s, we're running 8 level 3s. We're running 4 of the Saber and 4 of the Healer Shiro. So first up, the Saber's ability. She gains 500 power for every other master or servant on the field. So she can reach 11-5 before assists, but we don't really like run assists in this deck. So like basically 11-5 base. And her second ability is like the Musashi ability. When her damage gets canceled, you mill the top card of your deck and you burn your opponent for the level of the milled card +1. So if she cancels, you mill like a level 1, you burn for 2. So this is a really strong way to finish off your opponent, and it just applies a lot of aggressive pressure. This deck is really aggressive. So you just want to set up for this. This is your main end game option. We run 4 Shiros. This is kind of like as like filler, because our level 3s are like kind of like whatever. But he's a healer, so I mean, he's not totally bad. You can use him to heal if you need to. His second effect is when you play him, you can discard a card in order to give him 2,500 power and +1 soul until the end of the turn. So this can be useful for like if you need a side for 1. I guess you could do that. Like let's say your opponent has like level 2 on the field. You can side for 1. So yeah. Like 90% of the time though, like 99% of the time though, you're going to want the Sabers. So just try to get like 2 or 3 Sabers in your hand when you're like going into level 3, and then you're like all set to go. For level 2s, we're only running 3 level 2s. Originally, I had Cody running 4, and then he decided that 3 was okay, so we're only running 3. This card's effect is a climax combo with this Fire Trigger climax. When this card attacks, you can pay 1 stock to look at the top 4 cards of your deck, choose 1 master or servant among them, add it to your hand, and then send the rest to the waiting room. And then until the end of the turn, this card gets plus 5,000 power. So this is kind of like a mid-game filter. If you don't have the 3-2 Saber in your hand, and you want to get into your hand, you can use this Saber to try to get to it. In addition, this card gets really big. With the Climax combo, you're hitting for 14,000 power, so you can use this to get over your opponents. Like, let's say they set up a wall at level 2 of like early summons. You can use this to get over it. And it just fixes your hand. Like the Climax combo replaces the Climax, so you're not running out of cards. And then basically, this deck's just like spamming 1k1s all day with Climax combos to keep hand advantage, and this helps with that. Moving on to the other Climax combo of the deck, we're running 4 copies of the 1-0 Shiro. This is a double R. This guy's effect is another Climax combo with this Fire Trigger. So in this deck, we're running 8 Fire Triggers. Again, very aggressive. If the opponent cancels our attack, we still have chances to do damage. So 8 burns, yeah. His Climax combo is, if you have the Climax in play, when he attacks, you can pay 1 stock. If you do, he gets plus 2,000 power, so it ends up adding up to 8k, because you have 1k from the Climax, 2k from his own ability, so he's a 8k attacker. So he gets plus 2,000, and he gains the ability where if he reverses the opponent's character, you get to search your deck for any Master or Servant trait character and add it to your hand. So this card is like super important for the deck. It helps you set up for your mid game and your end game. You can get whatever back rows you need, and it's just overall a good card. You need, like if you can get like 2 of these off at level 1, or even just 1 of these, you're pretty much set to go. And because this deck is so aggressive and you're always just pushing for damage, you just get the cards you need, and you just keep going. You just keep pushing, basically. Which moves which brings us to our next card. This 1/1 Clock Encore Saber. This card is very good. Like Cody and I were testing with like the 4 copies, and sometimes like all the copies would be out, and I'm just like, no, I don't have another one to search. So it just seems like we always want to search for this card. So first of all, it has Clock Encore, and its second ability is Resonance. So Resonance, the new mechanic, you activate it by revealing this level 0 Saber in your hand at the start of the climax phase. And if you do, this card gets +1 soul. So it's a 2 soul beater at level 1. So if you need to, you can. If your opponent has like level 1 walls that are higher than you, you can side for 1. Or if you can kill your opponent's characters, you can just front attack for 2. And so we're always just trying to like push for like 2 damage with this card because 2 is a safe amount of damage to hit for, and it's like most of the time going to go off. So yeah, this card like it seems very plain, but it puts in a lot of work, and that's how I feel like a lot of the cards in this deck are. Like they seem really plain, but they really get the job done. And especially like the resonance mechanic. Like the resonance mechanic, it also seems like very ordinary, but like over time, like the bonuses you get from resonance, they just like really add up to make for a really decently strong mechanic. Next up in the level 1s, we're running 3 of the Shiro backup. So this guy's a 1/1 1500 backup, and his ability is when you use the backup, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a master or servant, you add it to your hand and discard a card. So it lets you filter out cards. Now, for a 1/1 counter, it's 1500, so it is kind of weak, but it has the utility of like being able to filter out your hand, while at the same time you get closer to your next climax if you're like trying to cancel damage. So you can use him for that as well. 1500 power is really not that great, but we have Avenger, which is going to give all our stuff Clock Encore, so it's really not as important anyway. So yeah, but we still run 3 copies. It's nice to have it. So yeah. Next up on our list is this 1/0 Shiro. So he has 2 abilities. His first one is Resonance. So also with the Heroic Saber level 0. At the start of your climax phase, if you reveal that Saber in your hand, then you can give any character 1500 power until the end of the turn. So if you have like Clock Encore Saber or the 1/0 Shiro, especially the 1/0 Shiro, because you want him to get as much power as possible so you can reverse the opponent's characters with the climax combo and search. This guy really helps out with just getting over big cards. And his second ability is you can pay 2 and rest himself to search your deck for a master or servant character. Oh wait, no. You can search for a weapon trait character. So that's basically this entire deck. So you're not having any problems there. Sometimes you need to search for cards, and this is how you can do it. This is one way to do it. Lastly, for the level 1s, we're running 2 of this 1/0 Saber, and her ability is Resonance, also with the 0/0 Saber. She's 1/05K, and at the start of the climax phase, if you reveal the 0/0 Saber in your hand, she gets plus 2000, so she becomes 50. She becomes a 7K. Cody told me that this card he doesn't feel is as important. So like the real like stars of the show were the 1/1 Saber and the 1/0 Shiro for the level 1 game. Like those were like the really key cards. Moving on now to the level 0s, we're running 4 of the Heroic Spirit Saber. This is the Resonance card for all those other ones. Its ability is when this card attacks, if you have a Master or Servant character on your field besides this one, it gets a 1500 point boost, so it can attack for 4K, which is really good. It can help you get over some early game walls, and like you can play it early game as long as you draw into another one, because having this in your hand like the entire game is the key for all your other resonance abilities, and it's going to allow you to like push for more damage or push for higher numbers. And even though it seems like a very ordinary mechanic, like I said earlier, it's actually, I feel, is quite strong. We're running 2 copies of this Archer Brainstorm. So his ability is pay 1 and rest this card, mill 4, and for each climax you reveal, you can salvage a weapon character. So that's this entire deck. Like all the Sabers and all the Shiros, all have weapon trait, so you can get whatever you need. You just salvage. His other ability is when one of your other characters is reversed in battle, you can choose a weapon trait character and give it 500 power for the turn. So it's not a huge boost. It might help you out in some situations, but it's just here for the brainstorm mainly. Next up is 3 copies of the Saber-Shirou. This is like the new Avenger card. He gives all of your master trait characters Clock Encore. So for the level 1 game, the 1/1 Saber already has Clock Encore on her own, but she's a servant, so like you can't really stack it. But giving the 1/0 Shirou Clock Encore can sometimes be very good. If you draw into multiple climaxes of the fire trigger, you can Clock Encore him, and then use his ability again the next turn to search for more cards. It helps you compress your deck more easily hit more climaxes. So, I mean, like, never a bad thing. And the second ability of this archer is when you put him into play from your hand, you can pay 2 to search your deck for the 1/0 Shirou. Now, usually you won't have to do this. Usually you will like have 1 copy in your hand, at least 1 copy. And then typically we want to search out the second copy with this double R 0/0 Saber. So might as well just talk about this now. This 0/0 Saber has 2 abilities. The first one is your other character in the center slot cannot be targeted by your opponent's abilities. So like you can't bounce it with a wind trigger. You can't target it with like specific abilities. Yeah. And her second ability, which is very, very good for the early game, I really like it, is you can pay 1, rest this card, and clock the top card of your deck to search your deck for any Saber or Shirou card. So if you're in the early stages of the game, you can use this to hit level 1. We can just use it to search for whatever you need for your level 1. Like you can search for the 1/0 Shirou and then set up for the climax combo. If you're later in the game, you can use it to search for the 3/2 Saber, so you can finish off your opponent. It has utility throughout the game, and just being able to search for anything is really, really good. You can just search for whatever you need in the deck. Next up, we have this 0/0 Shirou. So this is just kind of a beat stick, but it's a pretty good card in my opinion. So his abilities, when he comes into play, you mill the top card of your deck, and if that card was a climax, he goes to stock. So I mean, like you can get a stock, I guess, if you need it. And his other ability is when he comes into play, he gets 1500 power for the rest of the turn. So if you mill a climax, he goes to stock. If you don't, he becomes a 4500 beater. So you can use this to kill your opponent's early drops. Not a terrible card. Both Cody and I agreed that this card is pretty good at 3 copies. We like it. You can use it to clear really big early drops. And the last card that he's running, and he told me he runs this because he had 49 cards in his deck, and he was just like, I need 1 more card. So he ran a Rin Suicider. So it's a level 1 Suicider. Typically, we have the level 0 power to run over whatever we need, but just in case we don't, we have the level 0 Suicider. So I don't know how much work this was doing for him, but I guess it's okay. So there you have it. This is the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Peshcats, and I will see you guys next time. Let me know if you have any comments on the deck list, like stuff you would replace, things like that. As far as price, I figure I should mention that right now. This deck's kind of on the expensive side. The 4 Sabers are each like 2,500 yen right now, so like $25 a piece. The Shirous are like $15 a piece. A lot of the other stuff is just like rares. I think Avengers are like $5 each. And outside of that, and then also the double R Saber is like $8 a piece. Outside of that, everything's like few bucks for the rares, and like $1 or like 50 cents for the commons and uncommons. So if you want to build this deck, that's like a rough idea of like how much you're going to spend. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Peshcats, and I'll see you next time. Bye.